Hello! As you can hear, I've had COVID, but I am back again with another selection of games running through the RetroTINK 5X. The PS1 video proved to be quite popular, and I'm happy to show off some more footage of the console's successor. The only setting I changed here was setting the interpolation to soft. I like sharp pixels for 240p content, but I feel a little smoothing is needed for higher resolutions, in most cases anyway. Everything else is stock, recorded via XRGB into OBS. If I can show off a widescreen and or progressive scan game, I will, but they are mostly 4x3 interlaced. Anyway, let's go. I missed out on Ape Escape 3 as I felt I was too old for it, and I felt the second game lost a lot of the magic from the original. It turns out the original composer returned for Ape Escape 3, so it does have that D&B charm again. Overall, I think the image looks quite soft, as I think there's some kind of deflicker effect or something at play that I'm not able to turn off. It's a fun game with a surprising amount of depth, but when running in 16:9, it seems as though the frame rate does take a bit of a hit. I know nothing about Baldur's Gate other than the fact it has some nice water ripple physics and other physics. I did start playing it a while ago and had fun, but then life got in the way. I'd like to spend some more time with it in the future, as it looks like it could be some low attention entertainment. The graphics are dark, but work well with the Tink's
Motion Adaptive Deinterlacer.
Easy pickings, hey, Karn?
Indeed. Let's see what our little ambush has won us.
Halt! Who goes there?
It's the watch.
Let's get out of here!
Yes, but take the gold. Leave the rest for the watch.
And the physics just don't stop. Here we are with Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore. It comes across as a bit of a button masher, but I do get my ass kicked not too far into the game, so there must be some mechanics buried under the soft, jiggly surface. Due to the way the PS2 renders this game, it can look a bit pixelated and shows a lot of comb artifacts. It's one of those games that might just be a little bit better with classic Bob deinterlacing.
Let me go! Please leave, Hayabusa!
I promised Hayate, I cannot let you die. I cannot let you go. Remember that the way of the shinobi is a harsh one.
Get ready, fight!
This is a bit out of place, but definitely worth a look due to the pixely goodness. I changed the interpolation back to sharp for this one. I am shit at Fantasy Zone. I always feel like the hitbox is ever so slightly too big, which can lead to some unfair deaths. This collection includes Fantasy Zone 2 DX, which is a remake of the Master System game for a beefed up version of the original arcade hardware. It's still frustrating, but fun. You've got the other entries in the series here too, and they look amazing. Fatal Frame 2 followed in the footsteps of its survival horror brethren Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and made its second entry one of the best in the entire series. Taking everything from the original and massively improving it, Fatal Frame 2 is one of the greatest survival horror games of all time. Due to it running at 30 frames per second, it really benefits from the
Motion adaptive deinterlacing.
and looks close to 480p a lot of the time. A bit of a deep cut here, this game never got released outside of Japan and Europe, which is a huge shame. Despite getting shafted by 50Hz, we did actually benefit from some obscure Japanese localizations in Europe, and this is one of them. Fortunately, there is a 60Hz option. Gregory Horror Show is kind of a stealth survival horror game with a cute outward appearance. Don't be fooled though, this game has a lot of depth and character, and is well worth a playthrough. It's kind of weird that the characters move at 30 frames per second, but everything else moves at 60. I think it looks interesting, but it may put some people off.
Oh, that face makes me want to do terrible things to you. I think I'll make your job harder by running away.
Katamari Damacy.
A not so obscure game this time, fortunately. Katamari Damacy is a PS2 classic which has stood the test of time in just about every way. You need to roll stuff up to make a big Katamari whilst racing the clock. It's very simple but extremely addictive. It does seem to have some kind of dithering going on here that I've never really noticed before, but it doesn't get in the way of the gameplay at all.
Hi, I'm Josie Marin, and I play Mia in Need for Speed Most Wanted. Make sure you do all your racing in the game. On the streets, drive safely and responsibly, and wear your seatbelt.
Why does no one talk about this game? It's an absolute classic and screams mid-2000s in both its soundtrack, plot, and cutscenes. It's a bit on the brown side, as games were around this time. If you wanted to look realistic, you had to look brown. Like Ape Escape 3, it looks like there's some kind of deflicker filter or something going on, making the game look softer and even lower resolution than it actually is. It's fun though, and highly recommended for the cutscenes alone.
First I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for that.
Stay focused. He's rolling on a lot of power, so wait for him to shift first.
Hurry! Monsters! Close the door, now!
Someone is there!
Get him!
A hack and slash with a tank control setup. Does it work? Kind of. Thanks to the virtually motionless pre-rendered backgrounds, the
Motion Adaptive Deinterlacer
makes the game look close to 480p a lot of the time. The game has aged pretty well, and if you're a Resident Evil fan, it should be fairly easy to adjust to Onimusha's control scheme. I really need to spend some more time with this one.
How could I die? By the hand of a human!
Say alright! Say oh yeah! What you gonna do?
A good thing about the RetroTINK 5X is that the input lag is extremely low. More so after a recent update which made all resolutions work in minimum lag mode. This makes playing rhythm games such as Parappa the Rapper 2 here a bit of a doddle. While Parappa 2 seems to be the easiest entry in the series, especially with its annoying tutorials, I feel that it has some of the best music. Seriously, listen to some of the bass lines on these tracks and tell me they're not funkier than an old batch of collard greens.
Here it comes! Extra, read all about it. The best burgers in town from all around. People from around the world come and get it. The line goes around like a merry-go-round. Cut! Yes! You got to heat. Yes, very heat. Very nicely. And toast. Toast. You got to cook.
I find this game to be a little overrated, but I appreciate its place within the franchise. Due to the game running at 30 frames per second, it benefits a lot from the
Motion Adaptive Deinterlacing
offered by the Tink. Unfortunately, the Tink is unable to make Steve less of an annoying prat.
I don't want you following me, lady. You'll only slow me down.
Yeah, here it is, the best game in the franchise, according to many. I've left it at default settings here, grain and all. You're probably used to seeing this game running at a crispy HD resolution thanks to Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition, but this is how I remember playing the game. The lower resolution, grain and grit helped mask many things off, adding to the overall fear of the unknown. YouTube is probably gonna eat shit in terms of bitrate here, but I guarantee you that the game is both playable and visible through the 5X.
Versus Kilik.
Hi!
face a gruesome quest.
Any other tacky stands in the audience? I have to admit, I've got no nostalgia for the PS2 version of this game, as I grew up with Link on the GameCube. Playing this now really highlights how well this game held up across platforms, as I'm used to PS2 ports looking pretty gimped with lower quality textures, lower frame rates, or a mixture of both. Here we get full anamorphic widescreen running at 480p 60 frames per second. The overall screen size is slightly lower than the other versions, and it looks as though there are some jailbar style artifacts, despite the fact I'm using high quality cables. But once you get into the game, you probably won't notice this.
I failed.
Welcome to SSX Tricky.
SSX was the very first game I saw running on a PS2, and it blew my little man boobs off back in 2001. When I got a GameCube, I picked up SSX Tricky and was never able to progress very far, because I had a bootleg memory card that got corrupted every time the weather changed. I had a lot of fun playing those first couple of stages over and over again though. The PS2 version looks pretty damn good too and plays very fluidly. It's 480i only, but the game moves so quickly you're probably not going to pick up on it too much.
You've got the top spot.
Come on, let's go! Yeah!
Mutation to a mute. Now you're cooking. Yankee guy.
Fantastic!
Yeah, this game is alphabetically order, but what are you gonna do about it? To tell the truth, I forgot that Burnout 3 Takedown and Burnout Revenge were two separate games. I'm currently playing the former on my original Xbox, and didn't want to start mixing my platforms. Burnout Revenge is a hell of a lot browner than Takedown. Gotta love the mid-2000s. The graphical fidelity is high though. We get 480p widescreen, running at 60 frames per second, outside of crash mode, which is always impressive to see for a later PS2 game. So, there you have it. 15 PS2 games running through the RetroTINK 5X. Is it enough to convince you to ditch those shitty HDMI dongles? Maybe not. And if that's the case, that is absolutely fine. If you're sensitive to input lag, enjoy having options for deinterlacing, and like spending money, the RetroTINK 5X is the upscaler for you.